right, hello folks, I'm L.A. Little and this is your daily TA wrap, where we take a look at these markets from a neoclassical perspective and ask ourselves what happened today and what does it tell us about tomorrow. I do a show 4 times a week. I do it every Monday through Thursday, live at 9 o'clock Eastern Time here from the base of what is a beautiful Rocky Mountains. Folks, this market just does not want to pull back. We saw the little bounce today. It took us a little bit higher. After hours, we had some earnings, big earnings today, just like we had last Thursday, if you remember, when we had Google Thursday night. Then we had that morning's earnings that were all bought, GE and a bunch of others. This Thursday, today, we had Microsoft, we had Amazon. Those were the 2 big tech names. A few other names as well. We've got a couple things in the morning. But, I've been talking about how earnings haven't been bought other than that one day. And today makes another one. That's 2 out of about 10. But you know what? If you look at the indexes, they haven't sold off at all despite that. So that's either telling us this market's a lot stronger than we think it is, or actually we not so much think it is. It's a lot stronger than it appears, at least with respect to the indexes and the sectors. I know most of the stocks aren't going up, but the ones that need to go up keep going up. Amazon, Microsoft today, 2 big weighting names in the NDX. It's going to put some juice in it tomorrow. So the industrials up 95, almost 96, 15,509. We had the S&Ps up 5.5, 1752. Composite almost 22, 39, 27. NDX up 16 and a third, 33, 62 and a third, and the Russell actually led the way back up today, 1118, almost 1119, up 8. We had gold up today. And if that quote is right, it is getting hit tonight. Let me check the futures over here and see what's going on. No, that quote isn't right. So, yeah, 35. Let me see what the futures show me on this chart. I don't think I believe that number. No. So the gold was up today and stayed up today. I'm not sure. Sometimes this doesn't really show the right numbers. It is a 12 o'clock close. That's what the number is, and then this is off of that. But still, it's not trading at 316. That must be an old, what is that, V? Yeah, I think I'm on the old contract here is the problem, so we'll have to fix that. Silver was up today, not much, not nearly as good as gold. Gold actually failed into some resistance today. We can look at that in a minute. Bonds, they were up slightly after hours. They weren't up that much today. They actually sold down. Dollar was about flat, a little bit lower. Those were the main things. Oil flipped around. 97 here is where it closed. So it flipped around today after 4 or 5 days of selling. Let's go and look at the indexes, though, because the real question is when you bounce, imagine where we're at, right? Another V-shaped move straight up, right? You spike up there, make a high. You come down, but as you come down, it doesn't show it so much here on the SPX, but we saw it on the IWM, for example, yesterday, and the Dow. Both of those were telling us it wanted to try to go higher today. When you come down, the onus after this kind of a move, it's going to be sticky. They're going to buy the first dip. They almost always do, especially when you had a long bull run, which is what has been going on. I mean, folks, we've been up for a year. We really have been up straight for a year now. I mean, you can see it here in the weekly. On the monthly, you can really see it there. I mean, there hasn't been any kind of pullback since that pullback in November of last year. So that's really a year ago. So a year of straight up, for the most part. So if we look at it again on the daily, you know, you got a little bit more volume on the top. Today was slightly higher, not that much. SPX still really not telling us anything, but the onus is upon the bulls to take it back up and make new highs and hold, right? Because now what you're really testing is you're testing to see whether this move can continue to leg higher. And you get that kind of a move, that's a big move. If you're going to leg higher, right, you got to do it. If you don't, you're going to come back. They're going to try to sell it. And so the onus becomes upon the bulls to actually take this thing higher and push it. If they don't, you're going to get some sort of a pullback, some sort of a retrace. Now, the other thing that can happen is that retrace really is a small one, right? And then you can actually get some sort of a continuation sideways pattern, which would then give you the opportunity. In other words, then the onus becomes on the bears to break it down. In other words, you pull back, but you can't break it down. Well, you're going to go the other way, right? So that's the way it works. Dow Jones, what do we got? 15,518. We got over it, closed under it with less volume. That's interesting. Into resistance. That's a failure on the Dow. Let me see what reports tomorrow on the Dow. Nothing big. Nothing on the Dow tomorrow. So, I don't know. The folks, that's a failure. That says it's going to try to go sideways down. It's probably going to, try to retrace and come back the other way. That's in the face of all the after hours news. Let's go to the strong guys, which are going to try to take highs out tomorrow. So the NDX 3947. So we're coming back up. Volume expands, which is good. This is definitely going to test the highs tomorrow. And tomorrow's Friday, which is typically a lighter day, volume-wise. So we'll have to see if it can get up there, get over it, and hold it. And hopefully get some volume expansion if you're a bull. The NDX is definitely going to go after the highs. Now, after hours, we actually saw the NDX trade over those highs. It's slightly under them right now as I'm glancing at my other screen here. It's slightly under it on the futures. So on the futures, it was about 1349 basis. I think this is the December contract. Let me see here. Not 33.79. I'm looking at gold. 33.79, I believe, was the top. I'll get the exact number here so we can see how far off we're at. So that's 13. Excuse me, 13. I keep saying 13. 33. Right at 80. 33.77. And we're trading at 74. So we're roughly 3 points under it on the NDX. So it definitely will probably test a high tomorrow. The Russell is probably going to do the same thing. So the Russell, remember Russell gave us a reversal yesterday. Long tail, doji, after a push back with less volume. That says you're going to try to go higher. That's exactly what it did. That one will test the highs again tomorrow. So if you're keeping score and you're looking at this from a daily perspective, weekly perspective, it's hands down it wants to try to go higher. Now on the weekly you could get a failure, but the volumes are going to be too heavy. If I pull this over here and show the Russell, for example, the volumes are going to be too heavy, even if you finish under it. So that's not going to cut it. Let me go back and see what the NDX looks like on the volumes. Yeah, the volumes there might be underneath it, but they're gonna be up at the highs tomorrow anyway. So unless there's a major failure, those weeklies are still going to be fine. It's just the daily you're wondering about. So the daily, we'll get the test. We'll see if it can go over it and hold it. If not, you test the highs. You come back under it. That invites selling, especially when you get this kind of a push from two more big names. And think about it now. You only got one more big name left in the NDX, and that's Apple, and that's Monday. If Apple doesn't push this thing higher, there's really not much left out there to push it in terms of big names. So So from that perspective, you need to consider, what's the next thing? What can push it? And there's not a lot left. So tomorrow, this thing, just from a catalyst standpoint, this thing needs to take out those highs and hold them, right? To show that the momentum's still there, to bring the momentum guys in to keep pushing. Okay, that's the indexes. Let's go to the sectors. I was glancing at these as we came on the air because I didn't really have a chance. I actually got delayed getting back to the office today, so I didn't get a chance to look through these. IYT has been strong, just continues to power up. So the transports are doing really well. That's in the face of the Dow can't. Now the Dow, as we know, is kind of an anomaly right now with all the changes that came into it, almost a month ago now. But this thing is just powering up. Nothing wrong there. You can't gripe about that, guys. SMHs. Now the SMHs came off hard and a little inside low volume day. That's not a good sign. So again, getting back to the catalyst as to what to take the NASDAQ and the index higher, this is about a third of the index, this grouping of stocks, and they're not going anywhere. Matter of fact, they look like, if they want to go somewhere, they look like they want to come down and test this low. So that one is going to be a negative for the NDX. Going back to the listed issues, XLB did come in, tested that swing point high. So that's the retest, attempt to regenerate. 43.20, no, excuse me, the high was 43.78. So we get into it, 3.2, not even close. That's going to try to go higher again. XLB materials wants to go higher. So transports and materials. So we're digging stuff out of the ground and we're moving it. XLE. Okay, so that's also a retest, regenerate higher off the XLE. That wants to push back the other way. Now you had the huge bar down, so you're going to want to see it fill the gap and hold it, to get another leg up. Now one thing I didn't talk about that potentially could take place is I'll just use this as an example. But if you think back about the NDX, the Russell, and so forth, these could be C's of a large ABCD structure that's bullish, right? In other words, this is the A, that's your B, this is your C. If you get over it, right, you could drive for another one, and that's a large structure. These are doing retest, regens, they're holding, they have less volume, they're clean. That's three of them that want to go higher. Let's see what the financials did. Same thing. Financials doing the retest, regen, underneath, back over. This also looks like it's going to try to fill the gap tomorrow. The industrials, I saw these were still powering higher, so that can go higher. So if I look at the sectors, they look a lot stronger than the indexes. This one doesn't, XLK, but we know from after hours it's going to try to push up there and test the high. So that one will be a good test. XLP was in the range. What did it do today? Still failing at the top of the range on the weekly. XLU was failing yesterday, continues to fail today. Those can't go anywhere. XLY was heading higher. And it doesn't have the volume, but it's over it. 6283 closes right at it. So this one's a toss-up tomorrow, but you got like 6 of them want to go higher. So that suggests you're going to see those indexes try to push up and take the highs out tomorrow. The NASDAQ, the IWM, the Russell, those will be the leaders. If they can hold and start to push away again, everything else is going to follow them. It's all momentum at this time of the year because it's all performance chasing. All right, let's just look quickly at the OX sectors and see if there's anything there that gives us a contrary signal. So let's look at the dollar first because the dollar is trying to break out the lows again. Okay, so no volume down there. can't push it down anymore, it looks like. It's still got an ABCD structure down. Volume was there the last 2 days. This just looks like it can bounce the way it's traded today. Let me look at the FXE. Now the FXE was trying to get over, if you remember, on a weekly. This guy was trying to get over the highs and stay over them. 136.03, it's still over them. 136.54, so it stretches higher today. It's got a black candle, small body, no volume. Tomorrow's the key day. You know, do you stay over the swing point high and break it on a weekly or not? It's going to be, it's set up to break it unless it pulls back tomorrow. And if the FXE can continue to push higher, which means the dollar pushes lower, that continues to put the gold and silver and the commodities in general in a better situation, because they tend to try to go up when the dollar's weaker, and that's what they did today. So this one trades into resistance and actually sticks in it. That swing point high, 129.58. So it's over it. So you're back to a bullish on this time frame, and it actually has the volume. This is going to go test this high. That's 132.16. It's going to go up there and test it still. So it's trying to get into the top of this one first. That's the September 20th bar. If it can get over September 20th, or actually that's the real test, right? From here to the top of the 18th bar. That's the big test. As a matter of fact, this will redraw tomorrow, and you'll probably see that right there as the resistance. So you're over the swing point highs. This is positive. There, you know, I've been looking at some of these stocks. I looked at AEM today. This thing just blew out earnings today and went crazy. So we're starting to see some of these gold stocks move big, and Anico Ego is one of them. We saw earlier SCCO earnings. They traded higher, and this is a gold, Southern Copper. Excuse me, a copper company, Southern Copper. It's in Peru. That one also traded higher. So we're starting to see movement again in that sector. Matter of fact, if you just look at the GDX, you can start to see it, because the big caps are the ones that are trying to move now. And so they're eating back into these bars and trying to get up into resistance. They've been weak. They've been beat down, but you know, we've talked about them before. If we look at them here, they are putting in their bottoms just like gold is. It's just more difficult for them. But that's a long run up there if they can get moving again. All right, let's look at a couple more things here. I wanted to look at bonds, so let's see what bonds did. And that's what happened today. So bonds go up. Remember, they got into the bottom on the weekly. They got into the bottom of that June 17th weekly bar. That's where this failure is coming from. No volume on the way back yet. What's going to happen is it's going to come in and try to retest, regenerate higher. So we'll see if it can do that or not. That will be the test on the bonds on the way back. You know, honestly, what you want from bonds is you just want them to go sideways if you want to be bullish on the market. They don't have to drop, you know, in terms of yields. They can hang here now. It's like anything else, right? You sit with something long enough, it doesn't bother you anymore. The fast moves are what bothers you, right? Because you don't know when they're going to stop. And the fast move that took place in this over the last 4 or 5 months, you know, was starting to worry the market. But now you're seeing it's flipped around. It's actually building a base to go back higher, test higher, and potentially get all the way back up to, it's about 114. So we're trading at 108. You know, another 6, that would take the yields back down pretty good clip. So, excuse me. I think that was it. Let me see what kind of Let me see what kind of questions y'all have. Great day, LA. Can UNG to the dailies as swing point highs anytime soon? I don't know. Let's look at the UNG. So UNG today, it always has its inventory numbers come out. And I'm going to pull up the UNL to start with, and then we can look at the UNG as well. The UNL, I just like it because it's the contract spread out over multiple months instead of all weighted at the beginning, at the nearest month. Well, there's nothing to tell me much here. Let me look at UNG itself. So this is front month weighted. This one's a little bit stronger. Okay, so this one came into and tested into the swing point low. All right, so what did it do up here? It tested 5.4, 4.1. So it tested, didn't have the volume, falls. Volume coming into the big bar at the bottom. The top of that bar is 1844, it's got 6.5. Yeah, so I mean, here's 3 days testing into this bar, and you can't stay in it, right? That's the September 26th bar. So that's bullish. Let me flip back to UNL right quick and see. Yeah, this one tells a different story. So I don't know because this one came back with more volume. The bad thing here is this one doesn't have nearly as much volume, so you have to kind of look at the other one too. This does even here with a different story. This still is a bullish bar today. So you got a reversal. You're gonna get a push back up. Looking at UNG, it looks to me like it's going to go back and test those highs again. It's going to be some work, but that's where it looks like it wants to go. So another question, deck long. Let me see what deck looks like. So DECK. So Deckers, what did they do today? Now this is interesting. So this is, I have these guys reported already? I didn't see them on my earnings reports. So Deckers is trading on the weekly, 56.67 on the March 25th week. Has 16.6 on it, volume-wise. And it was coming back into that bar, and it just doesn't have any juice in that bar. Now on the daily, it's actually pushing with decent volume, but not quite enough, as it tried to break. 2.5, hit it with 2.54, it had 2.56. So almost the same. But then you look over at the weekly, and you got tails down here on 3 bars. This looks to me like it's going to flip around and come back up and test into that big down day on October 7th. Bottom of that bar is about 63. We're trading at 58. So I would think you can trade back into that bar. That would be the test. Of course, if you get into it, stay a bar or two, you can get to the top, which takes you all the way back to the highs on the weekly and the daily. All-time highs are much higher. They're up around 118. We're quite a ways away from that, even if we get back up there. So, yeah, this is, it's not bad at all. I mean, it looks to me like it's going to come back and test the bottom of this bar at least. So, and this is the spot, right? You don't have to give it anything. You buy it here and you shoot for that and see what it does when it gets there. Oh, they reported earnings. Okay, so I'm seeing some notes being pushed here. Thanks. So it's up $8.66.10 tonight. Well, I guess that's why you're asking about it. Okay, well, I guess that answers the question. That's interesting because I didn't know this story tonight, but this, the three tells down here and the volume not being able to expand suggests that it wants to go back up and test into this bar. Bottom was 63, the top is 67. I'm told it's trading at 66.10. That tells me it's going to test the top. And yeah, it's a nice big spike. The problem, if you're going to buy that is you really have to, what you got to do on something like that is you got to catch a retrace in the morning, maybe down towards the bottom of this bar. And what you want is you want that retrace early. So within the first hour, you want to try to catch a low, right, and then use that as your entry if you're going to try to get onto it for a longer run, because the bigger picture here is not bad. This is not bad at all. Nice big volume spikes. You die out here and you consolidate. You try to push higher, then you come back with some okay volume, but nothing compared to what you're coming back into. So yeah, it's a good turn. Okay, all right, tomorrow's Friday. No big names on the earnings. I don't think we have any big economic reports. I haven't looked actually. Let's take a quick look. It's actually even hard to keep up with this now with the government shutdown and all the changes that have taken place. But let's see what we have on our economics that are known economics, I should say. Durable goods, sentiment. So neither one of those are going to shake up the world. Let me see about overseas this weekend. Nothing really. Yeah, I don't see anything significant. So earnings, not going to, economic numbers not going to do it. You got the earnings tonight, big earnings numbers. Tomorrow is a test for the bulls. Bulls have to get back over the highs and hold them. And I'm talking about the NASDAQ and the IWM. If they don't, it's a failure. It's a failure on a catalyst that should have taken it over the highs and kept it over the highs. So when you're reading this tomorrow, that's what you're looking for. How do those two do at the highs? Semis are probably not going to help it. It's going to be up to the big cap stocks to do it again. And that's going to be Microsoft and Amazon and potentially Apple again. And Google could, but I haven't looked at Google yet to see what it did today. Let's see what Google. That's kind of chewing at the end of the rope here for a second. It looks like Google's probably not going to help it either. So it's really those three. Missed your question on the OIH. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Let's look at it real quick. So OIH, and the question hopefully was, do I buy it? And the answer is yes. It's doing a retest regen, but it's got a little bit too much volume. Let it test into this bar still. 48.52 got down to 48.55, pushing a little bit too much. Let me see it on the weekly. Actually, let's just do the weekly here. Yeah, I don't know, man. I would make it test in this bar. If it doesn't test in that bar with lighter volume, just work on something else. I'd make it test into the bar. I mean, you do have volume at the top. 50.41. No, I take it back. You don't. 49.78. Yeah, you don't. So yeah, I would definitely make it test into this bar. September 18th bar. All right, folks. Have yourself a great night. And I will catch you on Sunday, and we'll do it all again. Good night.